Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Renfrew County Housing Corporation. It is Wednesday, March 6th, and it is 1:12 p.m. As we gather this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on traditional territory of the First Nations. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. When has roll call been taken? Or Evelyn?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and we have quorum.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? I see none. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please, for the previous meeting minutes held on February 14th? Moved by the councillor from Petawawa, seconded by the councillor from Head Clare-Mariah. All in favor? Carried. There are no delegations, and we will go to the director's report, please. Ms. Patrick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the board. Good afternoon, members of Renfrew County Housing Board. The director's report starts on page 15 of your package, and the first two items in the report are the capital housing projects update and an update on the new build at 1030 Lee Street. And with your permission, Chair, perhaps Mr. Raditz could overview those two items.
Mr. Raditz, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So yes, just an update, item number one in the attached appendix. Again, as you can see, it's the projects that we have identified for 2024. And in the upcoming weeks, we will have some tenders that will be awarded, and we'll have updates on that in April. But I would like to bring to your attention the 202 Cecil duplex, and Tina's going to pull that up. So this is the latest, the recent picture of where we're at with that project. And as you can see, we're probably at about 90% completion. We're actually ahead of schedule. So things, this project has advanced extremely well. And I think we anticipate, that unit, that duplex and project should be completed probably mid-April. So that is definitely a good news story. As you can see, most of the interior work is done. There will be some exterior work probably later in March or early April. That's just some of the pictures when the project first started. That was an initial stage. So as you can see, that project went well, and we're pleased with that project. Item number two is just the update on the new build at Lee Street. And that project, we're probably at about 75% completion. And in the last recent months, the contractor has been focusing on the interior work. And as you can see, there's different stages of the project with the interior work from 70%, 80% complete on the drywall vapor barrier. And that project is moving well also, and that we should be on target for that project to be completed in early May. And Chair, that's the update on the two projects.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to continue with the third item?
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the board. Yes, the third item in my report is regarding Peterborough's Modular Community Housing Initiative. I included this for the board's information to give you a sense of some of the things that are going on in other communities. So Peterborough declared a state of emergency due to homelessness back in 2022, and following that, they approved through their council the building of modular community homes on a municipally owned parking lot in Peterborough. The parking lot was the site of an encampment, and they did move forward with project to build modular tiny homes there. This will be monitored, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with both supports and security on site. And they are hoping to have occupancy ready to go for November of this year. So just wanting to, keep this board fully apprised. We are hearing about lots of different models out there and researching these models and looking to have experiences shared in terms of what other municipalities are doing in terms of bringing back information that may work for Renfrew County. And that concludes my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to information item number 1, Community Housing Capital Projects Update. Are there any questions? Comments? Seeing none. Item 2, the update on 1030 Lee Street, the new build. Nice to see. Anxiously awaiting the opening for this. Item number 3. Oh, I'm sorry. CAO Kelly, please.
Thank you. Just a note to committee, spurred by the warden's reminder. Staff is working on a ribbon cutting for the early part of May, I think around May 10th or so, the second week of May. So just we'll send out reminders once we are able to confirm with the ministries on that date.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor from Pembroke, please.
Thank you. Is an invitation being extended to the Premier? His focus is on affordable housing and housing within the province. Is that out of line?
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, to the councillor. No, we'll reach out to the Premier. That's not out of line at all. I would suggest we'll go to Minister Calanda and the Premier. And Minister Flack, of course, who is a semi-resident in this area on the weekends. So we'll reach out to the province. We'll just generally reach out to the province, see who can make it.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3, Peterborough's modular community housing. Any questions or comments on this? None. Could I get a mover or seconder to accept the report, please? Moved by Councillor from Petawawa, seconded by the Councillor from Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards. All in favor? Carried. We'll go to Ms. Dombrowski for the Housing and Homelessness Monthly Report, please.
Good afternoon. My report begins on page 31 of your package with information item 1. We are very pleased to let you know and to let the community know that the County of Renfrew will be hosting an Affordable Housing Summit on April 4th at the MyFM Centre in Renfrew. We are hoping for a dynamic day that will be informative and connect ideas and opportunities into tangible housing outcomes in the upcoming years. Last month, Development and Property Committee endorsed a recommendation from Director Davis to advertise an expression of interest regarding the potential housing development of current property assets. The expression of interest will be delved into further at the summit, and there will be supplementary information from county staff as well as other provincial and federal experts in the area of housing development. And in front of you this afternoon, you have a flyer that provides additional updates for that upcoming summit. At this time, I would also like to draw your attention to a second flyer that was provided to you today, and that is for an upcoming Eastern Ontario Regional Housing Summit that will be in Ottawa on May 28th. Next up, we have information item 2 that provides an update on the County of Renfrew's chronic homelessness statistics through the Built for Zero Canada program. Within the report, there is a link that you can access Built for Zero Canada website directly to take a look over at the progress that is happening within communities across Canada, including the County of Renfrew. As of February, 13 people identified as being chronically homeless, and so that is homeless for a period of 6 months or more. The data only represents those that are connected to services, and we estimate that the true number is anywhere from 40 to 60% higher. For the fiscal cumulative count, so that would be from April 2023 up until February, there was approximately 60 people that were identified as experiencing chronic homelessness. Information item number 3 provides an update, another way at looking at homelessness as represented through hotel sheltering data. And for your information, you will see a summary of that for the full year of 2023. Next, we have a resolution.
Okay, actually, we'll go back to the information item number 1, see if there are any questions on the Affordable Housing Summit. Warden, please.
Hi, is there, and I never thought to ask Mr. Davis this, is there the opportunity, is there going to be booths for vendors and stuff like that as well?
Yes, through you, Chair, to the board. Most certainly, we are encouraging that, and that is within the details of the invite that's being sent out.
Thank you.
Thank you. My question is this something that councillors are welcome to attend? I hadn't seen that anywhere. I didn't know whether that was suitable or...
Through you, Chair, yes. I think that would be suitable as councillors are an important key in putting projects forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on that? No. Information item number 2, Built for Zero Renfrew County statistics. Seeing none. Item number 3, the homelessness as indicated by hotel sheltering statistics. Councillor from Killaloe, Haggerty Richards, please.
Thank you, Chair. Why, during the summer months, the dollars increase, the hotel stays, I'm assuming? Why would they increase during the summer as opposed to the winter time? Like they seem sort of out of whack?
Ms. Naborski, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. Yes, it's quite obvious that there was an increase in the summer months, peaking over in August, and we believe that to be an accurate reflection of need. The numbers went down, however, with the opening of the warming center.
Okay, thank you. Continue on with resolutions, please.
Thank you. The first recommendation is regarding the Homelessness Prevention Program investment plan that's proposed for the fiscal year of 2024 through to 2025. And the recommendation is as follows, that the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Board of Directors approve the proposed Homelessness Prevention Program investment plan for the fiscal year.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, for on the floor? Moved by Councillor from Petawawa, seconded by the Councillor from Head Clare Mariah. Continue, please.
Thank you. Within the background information, the first table, you will see several years that show the allocation that has been provided by the province. And then when we follow on to the longer second chart, you will see the proposed services that are highlighted along with the recommended allocations for those services and a comparison for the previous or the current year right now. The focus of this investment plan proposal is to continue with core services that we see are very important to the community. Those services including the Emergency Minor Home Repair Program that can provide up to $7,500 for urgent home repairs, as well as the Rent Supplement Program that provides a much needed top-up for an income supplement essentially in having a rent geared to income approach with private market rent. And then the rent allowance program that can provide $300 per month towards rent for households without children and $400 per month for households with children. And then you'll see that we are wanting to continue on with the Emergency Housing Assistance Program, most commonly known as Homelessness Prevention Program, and that is the funding, the essential funding that is delivered through Ontario Work staff, and that helps with rent arrears, utility arrears, and generally other housing emergencies that help people either keep in their current homes or acquire new homes. And the maximum amounts for those would be $1,500 per year for households without children and up to $2,000 per year for households with children. Following on, the next category is called She Can, and this is new to the County of Renfrew as of March 2023. There was a motion endorsed by Council in follow-up to the Colleton, Kuziak, and Warmadam inquest recommendations that has provided that the County of Renfrew issues funding so that agencies can help victims of intimate partner violence with their housing stability journey. The allocation for that is $100,000, and we are working with two service providers, being the Bernadette McCann House and Victim Services of Renfrew County, as the intake agencies for those applications. Next, we have the Hoarding and High Content Supports Pilot, and that will come up in a few moments in a following recommendation. And this is to cover the cost of purchase of service for training, mentorship of RCHC staff, and the clinical care of tenants at the Renfrew County Housing Corporation. And the overall focus of this is to improve and promote safe housing through health-focused practices. The next is a homelessness coordinator contract, and this was approved within the budget for 2024. And what is new is supportive transitional housing. Some more information to come on this, but for the purpose of this investment plan, we thought that it was important to set aside a significant amount of funding to be prepared to cover capital and/or operating expenses. We also see an allocation in the amount of $250,000 for food security and winter warmth programs in the upcoming year. And this fiscal year that is ending at the end of this month, we did have funding to the tune of $1 million set aside for a capital project that will not be included in the upcoming plan. And the maximum amount that the County of Renfrew is able to withhold for administration in this fund is 5%, and the amount is indicated there.
Are there any questions? Comments? Councillor from Petawawa, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. It's always nice to see when our allocation amount has gone up considerably. It's almost doubled, I guess, which is fantastic to see. I noticed, though, that it's pretty stable for the next 3 years after that, not taking into account inflation and the fact that I don't think this situation is going away anywhere. But I guess all we could do maybe is advocate for the fact that this problem will still exist and probably cost more in the future. And I hope you're not getting tired of me saying this, but I look at all of the allocations and all of the different programs, rent allowance, rent supplement, emergency housing, all of the different things that our people in need have to apply for. And it just seems like an administrative nightmare, not only for the people who are in need, but for us to administer all these different programs. And I don't know what we can do at this level to advocate for a living wage, to just give folks what they need. And I think it would be helpful on so many levels, not just for the folks who are in need, but for the administrative nightmare that we have to navigate to ensure that we help this segment of our population.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Continue on, please.
Thank you. The following item is another recommendation. And the recommendation is as follows, that the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Board of Directors approve the proposal from the Pembroke Regional Hospital Mental Health Service as outlined in Appendix 1.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by the councillor from Killu Haggerty Richards, seconded by the councillor from Pembroke. Continue with the background, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. Today, I would like to welcome to our meeting Morale Delorme. She is the director for the Pembroke Regional Hospital's Mental Health Services of Renfrew County, and the person that was incredibly helpful in authoring the proposal that you are reviewing right now. As background, the Renfrew County Housing Corporation caseworkers have heightened wellness check inspections since most recently January 2024. And we have done this in a direct response due to escalating concerns of tenant-caused building damages that have included, hoarding and squalor and a variety of other things. Initial investigations have indicated that at this time there's approximately 70 residences that are grappling with varying degrees of high content. And this is necessitating interventions to help improve upon that. Within the proposal, you will see a definition for hoarding and see that this is recognized as a mental health disorder. And while not all instances of high content scenarios stem from hoarding, there exists a recognizable link that most high content scenarios are connected to some form of mental health situation. If approved, this strategy will help us in expediting services for tenants that require mental health supports in order to impact positive improvements within the conditions of their homes. This proposal will also increase staff capacity and the sense of knowledge in how to approach supporting tenants in a therapeutic sense, referring them and having a step-by-step approach over time, looking for improvements. Overall, this helps us to have the necessary supports in place to help tenants continue to live in safe, affordable housing.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Warden, please.
Just a comment. This makes a lot of sense. When you first run into someone who's hoarding, usually the first response is to think that they're unwilling or defiant about change. In most instances, they're unable to make a decision about what materials to get rid of or to store somewhere else, so they're unable to do it, and that causes a paralysis, and it gets them further and further into the spiral. So it makes sense to try and deal with the underlying problem, which is always 90% of the time some kind of a mental health issue, and sometimes there's physical issues as well. We all get to an age where we can't lift anything or don't want to, and so I think rather than seeing it as someone being unwilling, we should be looking at it as they aren't able to at this point, and I think this is the right approach to it. And when you look at our 70 units, some of those units may be one person in a 2 or 3 bedroom, and to clean it out, move them along, it may end up being a solution, and then somebody else could use the larger unit. So it makes a lot of sense in any number of reasons, but as we've talked about a number of times, we're in the business of well-being for people and caring for them, and so this is a good program. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Any other questions or comments? I know that this has far-reaching consequences, especially in like emergency response, or in many other agencies. So you've heard the recommendation. All in favor? Carried. And thank you, Ms. Delorme, for your attendance here and all the work on this. We'll continue on, please, Jennifer.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. The next item is a recommendation as well, and it reads as follows: that the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Board of Directors approve the revision to the Rent Supplement Directive and increase the maximum allowed rent amounts.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by the councillor from Petawawa, second by the councillor from Head Clem-Raya. Background, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. I believe it was October that the first rent supplement program directive was brought to the board for approval. Unfortunately, since that time, we have had many file reviews and have recognized the increased limitations that the previous guide had regarding the maximum amounts. The reality is just there was not the affordable housing stock in the community where we would be able to have landlords sign up for the program. So the recommendation today looks to increase the maximum rent amount. So for example, take the one-bedroom amount from $1,000 to $1,200, the two-bedroom amount from $1,400 to $1,600, and the three or more bedroom amount from $1,600 to $2,000.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Continue on, please.
Thank you. Through you to the board, the final recommendation is concerning the Emergency Minor Home Repair Program. And the recommendation reads as follows, that the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Board of Directors approve changes to the Emergency Minor Home Repair Program rules to increase the maximum household value, to replace the once-in-a-lifetime limit with once every 5 years, and to allow the program to be stacked with other programs such as the Ontario Renovates program.
Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Warden Nemo, seconded by the councillor from Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards. Background, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. The background is included within Appendix 3 of your package. Notably, you will see that we are increasing the household value, and that would be the value as listed by MPAC from $250,000 up to $300,000. We would also permit eligible recipients to receive this funding once every 5 years, opposed to the current rule that limits eligibility to once in a lifetime. And finally, also allow that this program be combined with other funding sources that may include funding such as Ontario Renovates program.
Any questions or comments? Warden, please.
I think this is great. We know that across our community, our privately held housing stock is usually not, in some instances, not in good repair. And the once-in-a-lifetime prohibition, I think, was punitive because in some instances, people replaced their windows and maybe their doors, and then the furnace cacked eight years later, or the hot water tank, given that most people are on hard water. And so I think it makes sense, to continue to invest and increase the value and the worth of their holdings, their property. So it makes sense to allow them to keep applying as they make progress, rather than throwing money into a new furnace and not have decent windows, for instance. So I think this makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. I was reminded that this is a revolving loan fund. This is the way this works, because I wondered whether there was a cap.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the board. The Ontario Renovates Fund that we hope to launch again in the early spring, either May or June, is a revolving loan fund, and the funding for that originated through the investment in affordable housing that ended in 2019. This Emergency Minor Home Repair Program is funded through the Homelessness Prevention Program. And it's not a revolving loan fund, so there's no requirement to repay this funding.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Okay, any other questions or comments? Member from Killaloe, Haggerty, Richards, please.
Thank you, Chair. The 250,000, did we come close to using that, or would there have been a chance of going over that, or?
We didn't. We still have a few applications in front of us right now, but because we were finding that many people were ineligible, we thought, though that was indication that something would need to be done in the way of policy changes, recognizing that the need to repair homes and stay in your home was very important.
Follow-up?
I also think this is an awesome program. Is there a way to broadcast or publicize this more so than what we do? Because it is such a good program and there is such value to it.
Ms. Dombrowski, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair, to the board. I think that is, an excellent, suggestion. The information is on the County of Renfrew's website right now, so I encourage anybody that has any type of housing-related expense that may be faced in an emergency situation or a low-income situation to reach out to the community services. We have a media announcement that will come up in the upcoming weeks regarding Ontario Renovates, so it may be an appropriate time to also indicate the Emergency Minor Home Repair Program along with Ontario Renovates.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the Housing and Homelessness Report, please? Moved by the member from Killaloe, Haggerty and Richard, seconded by member from Petawawa. All in favor? Carried. I see nothing for new business. There's nothing for a closed meeting. The date of the next meeting is Tuesday, April 10th. And a mover and a seconder, please, for an adjournment. Moved by the member from Pembroke, seconded by the member from Head Clare Mariah. All in favor? Carried. We're adjourned. Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Community Services Committee. It is still Wednesday, March 6th, and it is 1:43. Roll call, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and we have quorum.
Thank you. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please, for the adoption of the minutes held on February 14th? Moved by the member from Petawawa, seconded by the member from Pembroke. All in favor? Carried. There are no delegations, and we will go to the Community Services Department report, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the committee. The department report starts on page 5 of your package. And information item number 1 is to let this committee know of the new child well-being law that is going to be coming into force in April of this year. So we received correspondence from the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan First Nation to advise us of this upcoming new law. The law will replace provincial and federal law with respect to child and family well-being, and all children living both on and off the reserve will be cared for under the new law. So we have been invited to a meeting to learn more about this, and we are in the process of setting up a meeting for the Community Services Department and Emergency Services Department, who do intersect regularly, to learn more about the transition of prevention and protection services. Item number 2, regarding the Community Services Manager job descriptions. So in light of some of the current priorities that our department is looking at, as well as the organizational objectives of the corporation and corporate strategic goals as set by this council, I've realigned the manager job descriptions to make sure that we are well aligned and well positioned to have our management team, moving forward with the initiatives that are in front of us. So, as outlined in the package, we've just made a few modifications to job description duties and titles of the managers. So, manager of community housing, Jennifer Dombrowski's position, of course, will continue to maintain programs and supports for our tenants in community housing buildings, but she will also take on a larger larger role in social planning and will be working very closely with Mr. Davis and myself in trying to work towards new initiatives for housing, trying to increase the level of affordable housing in our community, and working to revitalize our community housing buildings. The manager of community supports, this will be the manager that will be my backfill. So this position is being renamed from manager of Ontario Works to manager of community supports, just to better describe some of the work that is involved. Certainly the manager will continue to be responsible for the delivery of the Ontario Works program, but also recognizing that many of the financial assistance programs that the Ontario Works staff are involved with are, certainly available for other low-income families and individuals who are not in receipt of Ontario Works assistance. And as well, we have some work ahead of us with the MESA initiative and the crisis workers that will be a part of that initiative, and that part of that will fall under the manager of community supports purview. And Ms. Smith will be manager of children's services and continue to work on the childcare programs and services and the transition of the Canada-wide early learning and childcare, which is continuing to be changing on a regular basis and still evolving with that transformation. So these realignments are really just to make sure that our management team is really well positioned for the work ahead of us in 2024, and to make sure that we are really well positioned to achieve the corporate strategic goals, in particular corporate goal number 3, which is around improving community wellness, as well as corporate goal number 5, increasing the level of affordable and attainable housing. Moving on to item number 3 is regarding MESA transitional supportive housing. So we've had some conversations certainly with this committee and with all of council about MESA and the philosophies around a housing first model and providing a more fulsome level of supports and services to some individuals who are experiencing homelessness, mental health, and addictions in our communities. And through the MESA documentation that has been distributed and that we have discussed, there's a recognition that many of the individuals who are experiencing chronic homelessness are struggling with a number of complex challenges and barriers, including possibly some significant health challenges, mental health challenges, perhaps addictions, and require some fulsome supports around them, some wraparound supports in order to be able to successfully transition out of homelessness. So we are working very diligently with CAO Kelly, as well as Mr. Davis and Chief Mike Nolan, to implement a transitional housing option in our community, and to really fill a gap that we see is missing in our housing continuum at this time. So further details will be provided during the upcoming closed meeting. And item number 4 in my report is regarding the Age Well at Home Initiative Grant, which was awarded recently to the Eganville and District Seniors Association. So this organization that works in partnership right now with the Township of Whitewater, Barry's Bay Area Home Support, and the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan First Nation deliver a range of services and supports to rural and remote seniors in order to help them continue to stay in their home and be safely supported in their home. And we were very pleased to see them receive this grant, which will give them some additional funding to hopefully expand some of their services and programs. And it was brought to my attention and to that of the chair by Councillor Nicholson, who is not able to be here today, that perhaps we could have Eganville and District Seniors come as a delegation to this committee to talk a little bit more about some of the gaps that they are seeing, and where this funding can help to fill some of those gaps. So we will I'll be working with Ms. Dombrowski to arrange that for a future meeting. And thank you, Chair. That concludes my report.
Okay, we'll go back to information item 1. Algonquins of Pikwakanagan First Nations Child Wellbeing Law. Member from Pembroke, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yesterday, I had the privilege of attending a speaking session at Algonquin College to hear Jody Wilson-Raybould speak. She's the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General for Canada. Of course, first Indigenous person to hold that position, and woman as well. And as we celebrated the Day of the Woman yesterday, it was quite profound that some of the statements that she made at her particular speaking engagement had some real, implications as to this letter that we've received. The basis of her message was that there has to be lots of cooperation between folks, friendly cooperation, I might add, she had in brackets, progress by consensus, and continuing dialogue for a viable and true reconciliation. So I think, this letter that we're receiving is a step towards that progress. I don't know how the rest of the members feel. We have to progress. After all, this is Canada, we a democratic country, and we have to remember that our native brothers were the first ones to meet us at the ocean shore and to help us out when people were suffering from scurvy and from other diseases. They came to their help. So it's quite profound that, as things have come full circle, we're working together, and I hope that'll continue. Thank you.
Well said, Councillor. Any other comments or questions on this? No. Item number 2, Community Services Manager job descriptions. So as Ms. Patrick said, they are the same 3 positions, just renamed and reworked. Yes. Okay. Item number 3, the MESA supportive housing. No. Item number 4, age while at home. And thank you for taking on that to contact Eganville to see if they could come to a meeting, for sure. Okay. We'll continue on with the Ontario Works Division report, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. The Ontario Works report is on page 10 of your package, and there are 2 information items in this report. The first is the social assistance caseload forecast. This is an annual exercise that is undertaken by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. In order to prepare the forecast, they use social assistance data, labor market trends, as well as the unemployment rate forecast from the Ministry of Finance in order to forecast social assistance caseload levels for planning purposes only. So this information is attached for committee's information. The second item in the report is the Ontario Works Service Plan. This is part of the mandatory component of the service planning and service contracting process. This covers actually a 4-year period where we outline to the province how we will endeavor to align our staffing resources and line up our programming in order to achieve provincial performance targets. So the plan has been submitted through the Transfer Payment Ontario system along with our budget package and several other mandatory appendices to give the province information about our community needs and our caseload demographics, as well as how we will be positioning our internal resources. Thank you, Chair. That concludes the Ontario Works report.
Thank you. Information item 1, social assistance caseload forecast. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none. Item number 2, the Ontario Works Service Plan. This is quite a comprehensive report. Warden, please.
Thank you. Page 23, I'm very impressed with the numbers. Just in terms of the rents have increased, and the average unit seems to be $1,533, which I shouldn't say seems. And if memory serves me correctly, like 4 years ago, that same number would have been maybe 900 or 950, something like that. So it's just to draw to your attention that our most economically economically deprived are paying much higher rents than the rest of us do in terms of our mortgages as a percentage of our household income. So it's further to the member from Petawawa talking about the living wage. Again, I think this just drives home that message. Even in rural Ontario, there is a need for a different means of funding people who we need to care for.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments, questions? No, we'll continue on then, please, with the Child Care and Early Years report.
Thank you,
Ms.
Chair.
Smith. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. Good afternoon. The Child Care and Early Years report can be found on page 33 of your electronic package. And I have one information item to share, the Ontario Municipal Social Services Association letter to the Ministry of Education. So this item is a follow-up from some information that I had provided in my January report to this committee on the Ministry of Education's decision to reduce administration funding for service system managers in 2024. To provide a quick recap, in January I had informed this committee that the ministry had taken a phased approach to the reduction of administrative funding, first by going from 100% provincial to a 50-50 provincial municipal share in 2021, and then by going from a 10% to a 5% decrease in 2022. However, because of the pandemic, the ministry did allocate what they called a one-time transitional grant to municipalities to fully make up that 5% reduction in 2022 and 2023, but they have ended that now in 2024, despite many new administrative responsibilities that the CWELC system has created for us as service system managers. So this decision has caused quite a number of concerns for all municipalities throughout the province, and I had shared that there was great advocacy taking place to have this reduction reviewed due to all of the new administrative responsibilities that have been placed on us. The attached letter to the Minister of Education from OMSA and its 47 municipal partners speaks to these concerns. You will see that the letter provides some context as to how certain urban and rural municipalities will be impacted by this reduction. The total impact throughout the province is approximately $85.5 million. For example, City of Toronto's reduction is $24 million, City of Ottawa $4.7 million. Smaller rural municipalities like Norfolk County is $432,000, and for us in the County of Renfrew, this decision amounts to a reduction of $448,954. For 2024, we have looked at utilizing some existing mitigation funding to assist with this shortfall, but recognize that mitigation funding is limited. The letter requests the reversal of this decision and a full restoration of the administrative funding so that service system managers can continue to move forward with the work of implementing the CWELC system in the most successful manner. There is also a request for a meeting with OMSA's Board of Directors and Minister Lecce, his Deputy Minister, and the ADM as well. The letter is dated January 29th, and there have been no updates that I'm aware of as of yet, but we're very hopeful that we will hear something soon on this. We also know that the ministry is creating a new CWELC funding formula that will be coming our way at some point during this year, so we are certainly hopeful that there will be some positive changes moving forward, and I will certainly continue to report back to this committee on this matter. That concludes my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions on this information item? Member from Petawawa, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. It's a bit shocking to see this, and it's another example of more downloading. So the 444 or some odd thousand that Renfrew County is getting less of, what are the ramifications of that? Is it going to cost us? I know you said we're going to backfill with some transitional funding for this year, but in future years, if this is not reversed, is this going to cost us jobs? Is this going to result in overwork for the people that we have remaining to administrate this CWELC fund?
Through you, Chair, to committee, I think we are going to have to take a review of what this means. The administrative dollars are, this piece of funding is related to our administration as the service system manager, so we would have to take a look and review what this looks like for us in the future if there are no changes to that decision.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Warden, please.
Thank you. Is it possible to get just an email with those numbers about what the reductions for the various members of OMSA? And if possible, if you could focus on the numbers for the members of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, because I think what I'd like to do is bring this up there and then forward it to Roma and Amo. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Okay, seeing no other comments, could I get a mover and a seconder to accept the Community Services Committee report as a whole? Moved by the member from Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards, seconded by member from Headclar Mariah. All in favor? Carried. We do have, or are there no business, new business? Nothing for new business. We do have a closed meeting. Be it resolved that council move into a closed meeting pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Item C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Could I have a mover, moved by Warden Emo, seconded by the member from Petawawa. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Welcome back. The next item on the agenda is the date of the next meeting, which is Wednesday, April 10th. And before we adjourn, I would like to acknowledge that this week is International Women's Week. Thank you for the reminder, Gwen, although I do know that it is, with Friday being International Women's Day. I'd like to recognize the incredible achievements, the resilience, and the contribution of women throughout the County of Renfrew. In particular, I recognize the remarkable women of the Community Services Department, the Renfrew County Housing Corporation, Renfrew County staff, and the women in this room and at the council table. This year, the campaign theme is Inspire Inclusion, which emphasizes the importance of diversity and empowerment in all aspects of society. It encourages everyone to recognize the unique perspectives and contributions of women from all walks of life, including those from marginalized communities. I encourage all of you, men and women, to attend the International Women's Day events in your community. I will be attending the event this year held in Chalk River. Happy International Women's Day to all women and to the men who continue to support us. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please? Member of North, I was going to say North Algona, Pembroke, and seconded by the member from Killaloe, Haggerty Richards. All in favor? Carried. We are adjourned.